Hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we'll be learning about converting fractions to percentages. Now, this video is gonna relate to proportions, so go watch my video about proportions before you watch this one, just so that this video makes a bit more sense. So now, without further ado, let's head on straight into this video. So a fraction is something like 2 over 5. And a percent is something like 40%. But what does 40% really mean? This will help us when we're trying to convert our fractions to our percentages. Well, a percent sign, if you decode it, there's a 1 and 2 zeros, and that's 100. And the number is the numerator and 100's the denominator. That's essentially what a percentage is. So hopefully this will help you so that when we set up our proportions, they're a bit more easier since you know what the denominator should be. So how would we convert 2/5 into a fraction? Well, we would put 2/5 is equal to blank over 100 because a percentage will always be over 100. And just like how we would solve proportions, go watch my video about proportions if you haven't already, we'll use cross multiplication and we will do 200 divided by 5, which will give us 40. So 2 over 5 is 40%. So this is how you essentially set up a proportion, and when you set it equal to an x over 100, because the denominator will always be 100. Now let's say we have 3 over 4. Well, just as how we did before, we are going to try and set up a proportion. So 3 over 4 is equal to x over 100. If we use cross multiplication, we get 4x is equal to 300. And to isolate the x, we divide by 4. So we get x is equal to 75. So we know the answer is 75%. And no matter what you have, let's say you have a decimal number. Well, you can still apply the same rule using cross multiplication, and you still set it equal to 100. Nothing changes. It's just you will have a decimal when you're multiplying. And 100 times 4.5 is 4,500, and then you divide by 5 on both sides, so you get 90. That's 90%. So all you really need to do is set up a proportion with the bottom number as 100 and the top as a unknown number. But now let's go into numbers that don't necessarily go into 100, like 8. So we will use cross multiplication. So we'll get 300 is equal to 8x, and we divide by 8 on both sides. Now, you will get a decimal in the answer, but that's still okay because you can still have a decimal or even a fraction in your percentage. Now, if you don't understand what I mean, just look. So we have 37.5%. Well, that is still a percentage, but it has a decimal number, but there's nothing wrong with that. So as you can see, it's fine to have a decimal number in the fraction or in the percentage or even a fraction. Now let's head into another problem that does not perfectly go into 100. So we have 5 over 12 is equal to x over 100. We do our cross multiplication, we get 500 is equal to 12x. We divide both sides by 12, which will give us 41.6 with a bar on top, or you can just write it as a non-repeating decimal, but instead as a fraction, which would be 2/3. If you want a video about repeating decimals, just go ahead and tell me in the comments below. So here we have 41 and 2/3%. That is still a percentage, but even though it has a fraction, it is still considered a percentage. So it's fine if there is a percentage or a decimal in your percentage answer. So you all are going to do a problem all by yourselves. So we have 7 over 20. This is more of a simpler one because the denominator goes perfectly into 100. Convert that to a percentage, and a little more annoying one, which just so that you can get some extra practice, and that's 5 over 8. Did you do it? Let's check if you got the right answer. So we're gonna put 7 over 20 equal to x over 100, like a proportion. And if we do cross multiplication, we get 700 is equal to 20x. And if we divide both sides by 20 to isolate the x, we will get 35. And that means our answer is 35%. So 7 over 20 is equal to 35%. Now let's head on to the little bit more tedious one, which is 5 over 8, and we're going to put that equal to x over 100. If we do cross multiplication, we get 8 over 8x is equal to 500. We divide both sides by 8 to isolate the x, and that in 500 divided by 8 will give us 62.5%. So, and as you can see, there is a decimal, but it still is correct, because you can have a decimal or fraction in a percentage. Congrats, you made it to the end of this video. Whether it's you needed help with this concept, you wanted some extra practice, or you just wanted to review, I hope you learned something or got some extra practice in. It'd mean the world to me if you subscribed and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time I post a brand new video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. It just tells me if I need to change anything. And also remember that you can comment on my discussion page with any suggestions you might have for any of my videos. And you can always email me with any questions, suggestions, or more. And my email is always in the description box. Bye everyone!